Hello, and welcome to our second student spotlight of Autism Acceptance Month. Today here, I am joined by Nick Orth, who is a senior vocal music performance major.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to our show, and let's hop right into the questions.
Thank you for having me.
First off, what made you interested in the field you're pursuing?
Oh gosh, music has been a part of my life for 15 years now, since I was pretty young. I started playing the violin in second grade, and then I started playing guitar, and I played trombone in high school. I didn't start really singing until high school. And I took some lessons when I was a junior, and my private lesson teacher said that I should look into doing vocal performance as an undergrad. And I had done theater in high school and junior high, and I really knew that I loved it. And I did choir, of course. And that's what really got me into vocal performance, and I've loved it ever since.
That's awesome. Like, what I've noticed with anyone who is on the spectrum and pursuing their passions is that they really developed those passions at a really early age. Like, it's a moment that's been, in some cases, a fixation for many of us.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, sorry.
that it's wonderful to hear that you are actively pursuing that.
Yeah, I've tried a lot of different things. I come from, music is not a big thing in my family. And so my sister and I are the only musicians. And so I grew up with a science background. And, I was thinking maybe I could go and I could study science. Or I actually, for a semester here, I double majored in mathematics with an emphasis in data science. But I found that it was hard to feel comfortable in anything other than music. Like, dealing with everything, my mental health and stuff, music was where I found that comfort, that safety.
Yeah. Going off of that, going into the second question here, what has been your experience as a person on the autism spectrum within your field?
Gosh, it's like I said, it's a safe community, in the arts, music, theater, physical arts, the more visual arts. It's very accepting. It's definitely, I think about things differently, like how I go about practicing is different and everything like that. Um, like you'll see, if people know me, they know that I fidget constantly. Like I'll,
You and
as
me
a
both.
violinist, exactly. Like I started as a violinist, and so I'm just constantly doing, like fingerings, like walking down past shilling, just constantly, just at my side, practicing. Like, because I have a recital coming up this Saturday, the 17th. But practicing for that, like my notes, like I'm not singing. So it's odd. Um, but there are other people that have very similar things that are on the spectrum, and so it's nice to be able to meet and connect with those people in this field in sort of ways that wouldn't necessarily be possible in more academic, more the maths, the sciences, in that sort of way.
Yeah. Like, it's amazing just how the arts can just bring people of all walks of life together, and how more and more every year, more and more people that are on the autism spectrum are finding a home in
Hmm.
the arts.
Absolutely.
Now, this is a bit of a specific question, but what has been your experience at Millikan as somebody with autism spectrum disorder in your field?
So, oh gosh, yeah, thinking back, I the thing that I deal with a lot is anxiety in social interaction. Yeah, I also have anxiety, and so having to deal with that, where a lot of people at Millikan are very outgoing, very social. At like rehearsals, people will be talking during breaks and all these things. And I've been working on that for the past 3 years to feel more comfortable in those sorts of situations. But even in like choir rehearsals and things like that, where I would have to think, it's like, what do I say? What do I how do I respond? Like, what am I how, you know? Um, and that doesn't come naturally to me. Like I can remember back when even end of high school, early high school, so I would have to almost kind of flow chart if I knew I was going to be having to have like a conversation that day at like rehearsal or during these breaks. I'd be like, okay, pause. What could I say? Like what? I make a flow chart. Okay, if I say this, and then they say this, then what do I say? Okay, like and like branching off, I would do this. Which in hindsight, not great for the anxiety, but like that's my instinct. Is I it's difficult for me. And so people that have worked with me in the past will know that I'm very quiet. Usually, I tend to just be in a place and observe and listen. And so that's usually not the case as a performer, especially vocal performance. It's kind of, counterintuitive because you think vocal performance, you think loud, boisterous, really talking, super out there. And that can be me, but it takes a lot more effort, intent, and energy to do so and to be that person.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, social interaction is always one of my major struggles living on the spectrum. And like, what I've noticed more and more is that it's really easy for us to be misunderstood if we say the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like that has led to just a multitude of problems that could last a whole like hour and a half video if needed.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
but going off of that, what would you say is something you wish more people knew about living with autism?
Mm. I mean, yeah, it kind of goes into what I just said, where I I'm a quiet person, right? But there's the reason for that. A lot of people are just like, and I've gone through a lot in high school and even a little bit here at Millikan, where people sometimes misconstrue that because what I'm thinking about what I want to say, a lot of times I just get like dead stare, really like focused, like serious. And a lot of people will mistake that as I don't care, I'm in a bad mood, I, am angry, any of these things. And we'll think that it's like, wow, that guy is not having a good time, or that guy's really mean, or something like that. That's happened to me throughout high school and at Millikan. And just to have people be aware that it's like, oh, maybe that's not what's going on. There's these other things that he's dealing with, that he's thinking through. Because then eventually, and you've seen this in like rehearsals and stuff with me, that it's like, I can be quiet, but then when I get onto this spot, like I'm a student director for Millikan Men, when I get up there at the podium and I have these things, I can be social, I can talk, I can be, animated. But it takes that planning. And so I hope, and people are becoming more and more aware of this, and this is great that you're doing this, that's a thing that people deal with. And so it's like, I'm not trying to be mean, I'm not trying to be cold, distant. It's just who I am.
Yeah, that's like a perfect example of like it reminds me of like when so freshman year like a lot of there were a lot of people that just did not understand me, and one of my friends pulled me aside and was like, the reason people are so unnerved by me in particular is that in my field I'm so outgoing when everyone is used to dealing with fake people
Mm-hmm.
that they just don't know how to react to somebody who is just so genuinely nice.
Yeah.
And with that, I would love to say thank you for your time. Thank you for this interview.
Well,
And
thank you.
join us next week when we will have our third student spotlight.
Thank you for having me.
See you around, everyone.